one of the things that I want to work on in today's episode is to try and get towards the transmutation table, because I don't think that this is going to be all too difficult. It requires a bunch of dark matter, which we don't have just yet, but hopefully we should be able to autocraft. We need a bunch of beryllium, which we do have, but I have no idea how we got it. At the end of the last episode, we did figure out that we had one piece of beryllium, and you can smelt it and pulverize it to replicate it like we've done with multiple ores and ingots in the past, although I'm not quite sure how we got it, and so I might go through and make it nevertheless, just because it's not too hard to make either. Just go through a little bit of nuclear craft. But before we get into that, we also need to get ourselves some more of these mana-infused gems, which I've done between episodes because it takes forever to get those Lordcraft gems, and it is not in the slightest bit entertaining to watch. You just essentially sit over here with the Arcane Forge and just wait and wait and wait. And so if we go into the system here, you'll see that I do already have 8 mana-infused gems. Those are all ready to go. And then finally, the last thing that we need to get the transmutation table is 4 of these Dawnstone aspectuses. Aspecti, maybe, if it's a plural there. But if we take a look in the system, we do have 2 of those. And I don't think the other 2 should be too difficult for us to get. But before we do any of that, the first thing that I want to work on in today's episode is autocrafting. You may have noticed that all of our autocrafting setups here are gone, all of our molecular assemblers and our ME interfaces, and that is because I've set up a new platform lower down on our tower here. And that is this platform right here, because I want to massively increase the amount of autocrafting that we are able to do. And so I put down a ton more molecular assemblers, a bunch more ME interfaces, as well as quite a few more of these crafting co-processing units and these 16K crafting storage cells as well. And the first challenge of today's stream is going to be getting enough channels down to this section to power all of this stuff up, because I believe to get all this running, we need 1, 2, 3, 6, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 channels for all of the molecular assemblers here. Thankfully, I don't think each individual molecular assembler requires power itself, a channel itself. I'm fairly certain it's just the ME interface inside of the molecular assemblers that requires a channel. And on top of that, we need 4 more channels for this as well. So we need many more than the default 8 channels that an ME glass cable can provide. Thankfully, that's where P2P channels come in. If we look in the system here, I'm fairly certain that the P2P tunnels shouldn't be too hard for us to set up, and essentially what they are going to allow us to do is transfer the 32 channels that are available on each side of the controller down to this lower level of the platform. And if you don't understand what I mean, you'll see in just a second here. So to make a P2P tunnel, we need 3 iron ingots, 3 fluix crystals, and 1 engineering processor. I think we should have pretty much all of that stuff good to go. We do. We are going to need 2 of these, and we're also going to need to get ourselves a memory card as well. This guy right here. Thankfully, again, we've got everything it takes. And so I believe, chat, the way this is going to work is if we head on back up to where our controller is, we're going to put 1 P2P tunnel directly onto the controller, something like this. I'm going to put it down near a cable because we do have to actually hook the P2P tunnel up to the system as well. It does take up 1 channel in and of itself. And so if I just quickly go ahead and grab a glass fiber cable and hook it up like so, that's going to connect there, and it's going to be able to access the 32 channels that are available on that side of the controller. And then if we head on down to our lower level here, the way that this works, if we get to the right level, is we can place this down, preferably onto a cable. And I think for the first time in the pack, I'm going to try upgrading to dense cable. Now, we don't have any ME cable, as we just found out when we checked the system there. Hopefully, we've got quite a bit of fluix crystal and quartz fiber. Apparently, the answer is no, we do not. ME glass. Oh, no, we do. We got 112. Nice. Okay, fantastic. So we'll take that, and then we should be able to upgrade that fairly easily to some dense cable here. The dense cable, of course, being able to transfer up to 32 channels compared to the default, which is 8. And then, again, hopefully, for whatever reason, my outputs are being placed directly into the system. I don't know why that is. Is that an option that I've got configured somewhere by accident? Have I toggled that on? Oh, shift-click output. Shift-clicking the output of slots. Oh, it's linked back to the system. Okay, I want that in my inventory, not in the system. Although, maybe I do want it in the system. If I have it shift-click back into the system, it means I can craft again right away and do something like this, and then I can go ahead and do something like this, and I just need to make sure I don't shift-click when I pull it out. That's kind of neat, actually. I quite like that. I'm going to forget. I'm going to accidentally shift-click stuff in and forget about it every single time, but nevertheless, we now have 10 dense cable. And so what we should be able to do here, and I'm probably going to go under the ground like this, what we should be able to do is kind of connect all of these up using our P2P tunnel. So I kind of don't want this connecting And we can stop this connecting by using an anchor real quick here. And we are going to do multiple anchors in a second anyway. We do have 2 already in the system, which is fantastic. And so if we do something like this, that should stop that from connecting to there. Nice. Because what I would like to do is I would like to make sure that my P2P tunnel goes on like so. And then all we need to do is we need to right-click on one of our P2P tunnels with the memory card. Shift right-click. Like so, and you'll see it says new device configuration created and copied to the memory card. And now, if we head on back up to our top P2P tunnel, we can go ahead and right-click on this one, like so. Right-click this time, not shift right-click. Kapow! Loaded device configuration from the memory card. Nice! So, down here now, these 2 are now linked, and essentially, the way that this works is, it does kind of what it says. It acts like a tunnel. So, using just one channel from the top P2P tunnel to the bottom P2P tunnel, it's going to carry 32 channels. So it kind of bundles up all 32 channels, sends it down one channel, and then at the other end, it kind of releases the 32 channels for us to use. It's essentially a way of sending out the remaining 32 tunnels, like taking the 32 tunnels at the beginning, 32 channels, and sending them to be used somewhere else, if that makes sense. And I don't know, actually, if I've done this correctly, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think the 32 channels come out of this point, which is not what I want, so I'm going to break this real quick. I'm fairly certain the way I want to do this is like this, and then if I link, again, I'm going to shift right-click, and right-click up here, and I think that's the correct way that I want to do it. It's been a while since I've done this, but we'll right-click there. Those 2 are now connected, and so I think this is correct. This setup we've got going in here. And we don't actually need a dense cable here either. I will go ahead and replace that with a we don't even need to replace that with a standard cable. I can just put a normal ME cable right about there. Nice. Okay, so now this should come online, and then we should be able to use 32 channels here. Now, the only thing that we don't have right now being sent through to this dense cable is power. And we can't do this, because then that will go ahead and just connect up the channels that it won't work. Thankfully, what we can do is, if I can get rid of this, which is very slow, we should really upgrade our Tinker's tools at some point. The fact that we're still using basic obsidian tools, and we've now got the Philosopher's Stone, is a little crazy. But essentially what we can do here is, if we get a couple of pieces of quartz fiber, which is very small, it's right about there, what we should be able to do is, much like we did in a previous stream with the AE2 stuff, Advanced Inscriber, and the Advanced Crystal Growth Chamber, is we can do something like this. And that's going to allow the power from the AE2 system, and again, we don't want that connecting there, so preferably, we do want to put a travel anchor down right about, or cable anchor, sorry, not travel anchor, right about there. That's going to stop that connecting. We don't need to put 2 quartz fibers down. I did before, but you can actually get away with just doing this. And so now the power from our base AE2 system is going to go through the quartz fiber into the second half here, but the channels are not going to pass through. And so now we should have, fingers crossed, 32 channels available to us from this dense cable. A little bit of a convoluted setup, I know AE2 channels are not everyone's cup of tea, but I think that should work out just fine. And kapow. Nice. All right, so ideally, all of these should now be glowing. They should all be connected to channels. I don't know. Did we make a smart dense cable here? We did. And so it should show us, or should give us an indication, I think, on here of how many channels we're using. Although I don't see it. And it's also not showing in Whale at the top there. So I'm not quite sure. But nevertheless, these are all online, which is fantastic. And now, if we head on back up to the top level here, we should see inside of our interface terminal all of the molecular assemblers that we just put down. We've got 16 molecular assemblers available to us. Every single one of those has 9 slots available to it. And so in total, we have now got 144 pattern terminal slots for auto crafting compared to the original 36 that we had previously. And here are all of the patterns that we've already made. Towards the end of the last episode, as we started to add more and more stuff, we had to start taking certain patterns out just to make room. Hence why I've gone ahead and at the start of today's episode, started by upgrading all of the system, like upgrading the whole system from the ground up, so we can now store significantly more patterns. And so now, chat, we should be able to fairly easily go ahead and just throw these in like so. Unfortunately, you cannot shift click these in, which is a little tedious. It does mean I'm going to have to put all of these in manually, but nevertheless, it does give us significantly more room for auto crafting in the future. And so now I want to push my focus towards the transmutation table, and then if we have time, the transmutation tablet, which is really also not too bad. On top of that, it's not very difficult to go from the tablet to the table. The table to the tablet. It's not too bad whatsoever. But sticking with the tablet here, aka the table, I keep getting those confused. Sticking with the table here, we need a ton of dark matter, and for that, we need to go ahead and basically tell our system how to make dark matter. Thankfully, dark matter is not too hard to make. It's a block of diamond with 8 analyzed fuel. 8 analyzed fuel is a philosopher's stone with Mobius fuel. Mobius fuel is alchemical coal with the philosopher's stone, and alchemical coal is normal coal with the philosopher's stone. Now, I'm getting flashbacks to Stone Block 2 here, and part of me is thinking that this doesn't work, that I can't auto-craft the philosopher's stone with the alchemical coal. Like, I can't auto-craft with the philosopher's stone because of the fact that it's a reusable item. Let me see here, though, real quick. I feel like I should be able to. If I was to go ahead and request a ton of alchemical coal. Yes, he wants 100 philosopher's stones. Prevent substitution inputs of components. Allow substitution inputs of components. Oh, so if I do it... Okay, hold on. So, we'll go ahead and clear this one. Shift right click. And if I place that in... like so, does that work if you set the audit substitutions correctly? And I place this in like so. It does work. It's just missing one because I didn't have it in the system. If I go ahead and request 100 coal now, oh, that totally works. Look at that. Not incredibly fast. We could definitely do with looking at getting some acceleration cards, maybe. And putting those into our molecular assemblers if we want to make this even faster. But that is super cool, chat. Wow, there's still stuff to this day that I don't know about AE2. Oh my goodness. That is cool. So that's how that works. And essentially, we've got to do that multiple times over here. We do only have one philosopher's stone. How expensive is the energy condenser real quick? Because I'm assuming that if we had multiple philosopher's stones, the system would be able to create dark matter faster, because each tier of the craft for dark matter requires the philosopher's stone, like it's needed for the coal, and then for the analyzed fuel, and all the fuels in between. And so, if we had multiple philosopher's stones, surely it could do that faster. But then again, we also need red matter for the energy condenser, and so my thought was that we could just duplicate the philosopher's stone with the energy condenser, but I think the transmutation table is going to be just as difficult to make, if not easier to make than this. So you know what, sure, it's going to be a little slow, but that's fine, because we've also got other stuff we need to make, like the Dawnstone aspectuses that we can make whilst we are waiting for it to make all the dark matter. I'm going to go ahead and press A and bookmark that over here. Don't know why we've got iron ore bookmarked, but that's fine. So dark matter, we also need to get this, like so. I should go ahead and probably teach our system how to make patterns. I will make a few real quick here, but we should probably teach it how to make patterns, just so I don't have to keep making these manually as well, although that does require teaching it. We should probably teach you how to make all of this, actually. Yeah, that makes sense. Here we go. And I also don't want it using pure Cetus Quartz crystals, if possible. I would rather it use standard Cetus Quartz crystals. So real quick here, let's go ahead and teach you how to make quartz glass. Which dust do we have more of? We've got 16,000 Cetus Quartz dust. That is fine. We'll go ahead and encode that. And then we'll also go ahead and encode the basic pattern as well. Nice. Boom. And boom. So now, hopefully, I can go ahead and request like 64 or maybe even 100 patterns. Good stuff. And then just whack those in. Beautiful. Okie dokie. Transmutation table, dark matter, 8 analyzed fuel, Mobius fuel, like so. Encode. And on top of that, 8 analyzed fuel, encode. How much dark matter do we need for this? We need 3, 6, 9, so 9. Is this 9 by 9? It is, right? So 9, 18. 18 plus 16 is what? 34. 34 plus 4 is 38. So I think I need 38 dark matter. I'm going to go for 40 just in case my arithmetic was wrong there. This is fine, but it requires 47,000 bytes. And as of right now, our biggest CPU, we've got 5 16K CPUs, but we need one 64K crafting CPU for this to work. Okay, that's fine. 64K crafting storage. This requires crafting unit and a 64K ME storage component. Of course, we don't have that. I didn't teach you how to make this either, did I? Crafting. I should probably, whilst I'm at it, basically, as we go forward here, everything needs to be taught. Our system needs to know how to make essentially everything in the system here. So this can be encoded. And then on top of that, we need to teach you how to make 4Ks. like so. We should probably also teach you how to make the processors, because again, there's a lot of this A2 stuff in some of those later crafts as well. So really everything here does need to be taught to the system at some point. But for now, if we can just teach you to make 64K components, that would be great. See if that worked. I only need the one. Nice. That was pretty fast as well. I feel like that was faster than if I tried to make it myself. But nevertheless, we can now go ahead and make one of you and one of you, and we should just be able to replace one of the pre-existing 16K components, and I'm going to go ahead and replace this one right here. Like so. So that one is for the big crafts, and so hopefully, if we go back to dark matter, we'll go ahead and we'll try 40. This is going to take apparently 30 minutes. I'm hoping it doesn't quite take 30 minutes, but maybe it will. But whilst we wait for that, going back over to the transmutation table here, one of the things we're missing is the Dawnstone aspectus. And we do have two Dawnstone aspectuses in here already. And if memory serves me right, it's fairly simple. It's just some Dawnstone with an Ember Shard and a plate stamp. So plate stamp, we've got two of them. Take that. And then Ember Shards we should also have as well. We do. And I'm fairly certain, chat, that all I need to do here is head on down. We might even already have some Dawnstone inside of our stamp base here. We do. Fantastic. And so if I go ahead and I put you in like so, kapow, and I don't know if you can put in multiple at a time like that. If I just put in one. Nice. And then we'll take that back off as well. Beautiful. So that's the 4 Dawnstone aspectuses taken care of. We've got the mana-infused gems. The only thing now that we don't have outside of the dark matter is the beryllium ingots. So if I go ahead and I type in beryllium ingots, we can make these from smelting beryllium dust. And beryllium dust, I believe, is intended to be made with the rock crusher from Nuclearcraft. You can put in any kind of stone and it will turn that, or have a chance of dropping beryllium alugentum, however that's pronounced, and crushed arsenic. I did hope that potentially our laser drill over here would have picked up some beryllium. Unfortunately, it hasn't, but I do think that some of the ores that we have here will help us in getting this beryllium in just a second, because if we look at the recipe for the crusher, the rock crusher that is, from Nuclearcraft, it's a bit of a nasty looking recipe out of the gate here. It requires 4 advanced plating, 1 electric motor, 2 linear actuators, 1 machine chassis, and then 1 tough alloy. The tough alloy is made in the alloy smelter with ferroboron, and lithium. Both of these I think we can get from over here. Again, some pretty nasty sounding chains of recipes here, but let's see. Lithium, we do indeed have. And then, what was it, like boron? There's boron, which we do need, I think, for the next armor piece that we were working on, but let me check here. Rock crusher, what else do we need? It might be another alloy, honestly. Tough alloy needs this, which is made, oh yeah, this is an alloy between steel and boron. Okay, cool. And we do have boron. So, grab some boron. This is also probably the best time for us to go ahead and finally actually make a real alloy smelter. Up until this point, we've still been using a simple alloy smelter from Ender.io, and it's probably way beyond time that we actually upgraded to the actual alloy smelter from Ender.io. It's not too difficult to make. It does require 2 dark steel ingots, 3 furnaces, 1 industrial machine chassis, 2 bi-metal gears, and 1 dark cauldron. I do remember now why I didn't want to do this, and that's because the machine chassis requires industrial dye blend, which requires organic green dye, crushed lapis, and 4 quartz powder with organic black dye. Yeah, that was optimistic there. I thought I would just be able to shift click that in. What do we need for organic green dye? We need to put some clippings and trimmings with either an egg or some slime into the alloy smelter. The clippings and trimmings are made by basically putting in any flower, grass, vines, sugarcane. All right, okay. What do we have in here? We've got no sugarcane. Do we have any kind of dandelions? We got 7 dandelions, although I'm not sure that's going to be enough. Although we could always get more and just like, we could probably actually get away with maybe taking some shears over to the Twilight Forest and doing some shearing over here to get a bunch of clippings. To get a bunch of stuff to generate clippings. This should hopefully be enough to get us what we're after. So, let's grab our alloy smelter. Oh. And for now, I will place this down, probably over here by our solar panels, like so. Take these out, and are these not usable? Oh, I need a sag mill to make the trimmings. Ah, I see. And I need to keep remembering that I don't have to fly over to my system. I do have a wireless crafting terminal. Sag mill. What are we missing? We are going to have to start out with a simple sag mill. Thankfully, the simple sag mill is significantly easier to make than the non-simple variant. Unfortunately, apparently we've got no wood whatsoever. We should really set up something that auto-crafts planks for us and has them ready for us to shift-click in. And then we also need to grab ourselves our good old trusty flint and steel to get another grain of infinity, which we should be able to do right about here. Maybe not the best idea in the world to light a fire directly next to a platform that is entirely made of wood. But nevertheless, it needs to be done. And hopefully will get us one grain of infinity. Hey, nice. Nice, nice, nice. We might need a few more grains, actually, for the actual sag mill. But for now, we should be able to go ahead and make the simple machine chassis, and then go ahead and upgrade that to the simple sag mill. And if we throw our clippings into that sag mill, hopefully we can get ourselves, or we throw our grass even, into this sag mill. Ideally, that will get us some clippings. There we go. All right, so that should be everything that should be all of the green dye that we need. It is. We need 2 lapis dust, which we can get by just pulverizing lapis, I think we can. The nether quartz is just pulverized nether quartz, and then the black dye is, I think, any black dye, although I could be mistaken. Oh, it's organic black dye, which is some form of black dye. Pulverized coal probably works best for us, and an egg. Okay, that's not actually too bad. Do we have any pulverized coal? Of course not. That would be too easy. Let's go ahead and pulverize some coal real quick. Thankfully, our pulverizer is nice and fast, unlike our sag mill and alloy smelter combo. And then if we just go throw that in with our egg, I think, chat, that should be pretty much the hardest part about making the alloy smelter taken care of. Beautiful. Nice. All right. And then lapis, we've got in abundance, and quartz as well. We should have a rather nice amount of. We do. All of our quartz is in nether quartz essence form, but that's fine. Pulverize you. And pulverize you. Beautiful. I always complain about that, but that's actually not too difficult to make in the grand scheme of things. So let's go and craft up you. And then we do need to get ourselves another grain of infinity for the next simple machine chassis we need here. So again, back on over to our system. Also, how is our dark matter doing? It's doing fine. 20 more minutes, apparently. I think it's going a little faster than the timer is telling us. And then dark steel, which is, I don't think, too hard, right? Obsidian, iron, pulverized coal. All right. Okie dokie. We do have to use our basic alloy smelter one more time here. And also go grab some more pulverized coal as well. But we're very close, chat. We're very close. Very, very close. Pulverized coal, obsidian, and iron. Perfect. I love how we got 500,000 iron, and yet we've got like 200 nether quartz. That's great. Boom, boom, and boom. Okay, this is probably going to take a while, because this thing is real slow. Thankfully, we only need 2 ingots worth, I think. And we do need 2 more grains of infinity, though, so whilst we wait for that, let's go ahead and, again, light this on fire over here. Presumably there's a way, I was going to say there's a way to make bedrock, and although there might be, no, there isn't by the looks of it, it does make sense for us to just make the grain of infinity seed. That's going to make life a whole heck of a lot easier. We now have what it takes to make the alloy smelter, the regular alloy smelter, and so we can finally retire this old guy, throw this guy down. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, we already have some capacitors available in here. We do. We've got the remarkable capacitor and the capacitor of holding. I'll try both of these. We also have the another capacitor of holding there. But I'll try all of these and see which one is the best or the fastest for our machine here. This one is 26 RF per tick. This one is 172 RF per tick. And this one is 214. All right, perfect. So we'll leave that one in there. We've definitely got the RF per tick to spare. So this should be significantly faster than what we had just a second ago. And so finally, circling back around to the rock crusher from Nuclear Craft, which is the whole reason that we started this. We need tough alloys, which means we need lithium and ferroboron, and the ferroboron is made with steel and boron. So do we have steel? We do not have much steel, unfortunately. How have we been making steel up until now? I think we've been making the steel ingots from tiny progressions, right? Is that correct? These ones here? Yes, because we can just craft those like so. Presumably, those work in the recipe here. So I'll put steel in. We'll grab our boron, which I've got in my inventory. Ideally, we can just go ahead and throw that into the zenith furnace here. And hopefully, if we combine that with our steel, we should get what we're after. Nice. Look at the speed difference there. Oh my goodness, that's brilliant. That is brilliant. I should also go ahead and bookmark the rock crusher because that's what we're working towards. What else do we need here? We need a bunch of ferroboron, steel, pistons, copper. This looks more difficult than it is. And then here we've got lead, tough alloys, steel, easy enough. The tough alloys need the lithium, and then more tough alloys and graphite and lead. I think graphite is just pulverized. I think we can get graphite by just pulverizing coal, if I'm not mistaken. So this shouldn't really be too difficult for us here, chat. At least I don't think so. Hopefully. It reminds me of Industrial Craft 2 recipes, which are not my favorite recipes in the world, but thankfully there's not a whole lot of it. Smelting coal, that sounds right. Not, that's it, pulverizing. You can't pulverize coal to get graphite? Oh, do you need to pulverize charcoal to get graphite? Yes, we can get graphite ingots. Okay, beautiful. That zenith furnace is the best investment that we ever made. It is fantastic. So here we needed lithium and... Was it lithium and boron? No, lithium and ferroboron. It's lithium and the other alloy that we made earlier. All right, that should be pretty much everything. Can we check our craft from here? We can. 9 minutes left on that. Fantastic. I'm thinking we might have the rock crusher and the lithium done before that's finished, which is great. So let's see here. Rock crusher, what are we missing? We need you. I assume we just go ahead and pulverize some of our graphite to get graphite dust. That shouldn't be too bad. Boom, and graphite dust. Nope, that's not how that works, I guess. Not at all. That just... Oh, no, it does work, but it's going into the furnace as an output. Hold on. Let me... that should not be going out. At all. There we go. Try that again. I was going to say, it was going to be quite bizarre if the graphite dust just deleted itself. Like the pulverizer would just delete the graphite dust. That would have been real bad. All right. So, let's make a few of these. And then a few of these. 1, 2, there. Do we not have 4? Oh, no, the tough alloys. Of course. 2, 3, and... Oh, we're a little shy. I think we need just a few more tough alloys out of here. I don't think we need lithium for anything else. We might have to make some more of this ferroboron in a second here. I think that's going to be the bit that we're low on, if anything. But that's 4. And then from there, we need you, which needs a few of those. And it is definitely a tedious craft, but I think, chat, that if we go ahead and make 2 pistons here, we might just have everything that it takes to make 2, excuse me, of those. And then finally, a rock crusher. Nice. And so ideally, chat, we throw this down. We grab ourselves, I believe any kind of stone will work. So I'm just going to grab normal stone and throw that in like so. And I think it doesn't work with normal stone. Does it have to be, let me check here real quick. We're making beryllium. It needs to be andesite. Andesite? How do you pronounce this? Andesite? Andesite? Do we have this? We've got some pebbles. We can make 10. But I'm not going to hold on to 1 as well. I'm not entirely confident that 10 is going to get us what we need. It's also very slow. We could make speed upgrades here, but I'm going to see how this plays out. Although it does say output 0 to 2, average 1. And in fairness, we only need the 1. Once we have the 1, we can duplicate the rest using our Zenith Furnace pulverizer setup. And there we go. Beryllium dust. Nice. So that's how you get beryllium. Once you have it, you can replicate it fairly easily. by smelting it. You do need some fuel in there, of course. I'll just go ahead and grab some oak wood. Do we not have this running on our redstone flux? Oh, no, we don't. And then pulverize and rinse and repeat. We're doing quite a few of these for the transmutation table, but I don't think this should be too difficult for us to do. We should be able to do all of this fairly easily. How much do we need? 5, 10, 15, 20. 20 plus 12 is 32 is what we need, chat. 32 of these. And it does double every time, so once we go ahead and smelt all these 16 up. So let me make sure I've got everything that we need. I'm going to clear my inventory out just a little bit here because we are holding on to way too much stuff right now that we do not need to be holding on to. But the beryllium is something we do need to be holding on to. Aspectus, we've got. The mana, infused gems, we've got. And then the only other thing I think we're missing then is the Philosopher's Stone, of course, which I believe we do get back. I would be rather annoyed if we didn't get back, which is currently being used for the craft. And of course, we need the 40 dark matter, which is also being used in the craft as well. And so I think that's everything that we need. I think, chat, finally, we have everything it takes to grab our Philosopher's Stone, head on over to our ultimate crafting table, and kapow, we have got the transmutation table. It didn't show it for whatever reason in there, but when I clicked, it did appear. And so we now have our very own transmutation table. Boom. Look at that. First things first, kapow, we can throw this guy in there. And then if we just go and grab, for example, some of our emeralds and whack those in, we've got 9 million EMC. We can go ahead and grab really as many of these Philosopher's Stones as we like, throw them in here, and that should hopefully make getting dark matter significantly easier. For example, we do need multiple blocks of dark matter for the tablet form of the transmutation table. And so if I do this, and actually I'll go ahead and throw it down like that. Now, if we were to go ahead and request the number of dark matter blocks required, which again I believe is 9, 18, 18 plus 16, 32, 32 plus 4 is 36. So dark matter, if I were to go ahead and request 36 dark matter blocks, hopefully that would be significantly faster and wouldn't take 30 minutes. Anywhere near that long, but yeah, there's 171,000 bytes. We can't do it because we don't have the processor to do it, but in theory this would work and hopefully would be faster. I love that it's pulled. I'm a little worried actually that it's pulled 3 different Philosopher's Stones there. That does worry me just a little bit. Not the best in the world there, but hopefully it should be okay. But yeah, I think next time, chat, we'll look at trying to get the transmutation tablet. To do that, we are going to have to jump into mechanism. To do that, we are going to have to jump into pneumatic craft. And so we definitely do have our work cut out for us here. But the good news is that going forward, anything we need to make can be made with EMC. We can duplicate anything that we have so long as it has EMC, which hopefully is going to make our lives a little bit easier. Although, as I have mentioned throughout the stream, there are a lot of items that for probably balance reasons don't have EMC values. Like a lot of this stuff here, you'll see does not have EMC values outside the dark matter here. Nothing other than the Philosopher's Stone and the dark matter. All the rest of this stuff does not have EMC values, which kind of sucks. But nevertheless, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up today's stream there. As always,